Imagine standing in a bustling medieval market, cattle trades booming, warriors armed with beef-rich diets gearing up for conquest. This isn't just about food, it's civilization itself. Jeremy Rifkin's Beyond Beef pulls back the curtain on how cattle shaped empires, economies, and the environment. But what if the very beast that built our world now threatens to unravel it? Let's trace the rise, reign, and reckoning of the cattle culture. We start where it all began, Neolithic times, when humans first herded cattle. The story's about power, symbols, and sacrifice, more than just meat on a plate. In ancient Mesopotamia, cattle weren't just dinner, they were divine. Temples kept herds as offerings, and slaughter meant honoring gods. Rifkin shows how early societies attached sacred meanings to cattle, transforming beasts into symbols of war, fertility, and social order. This ritualized brutality laid the foundation for cattle's central role in human story. Think of cattle as the first stocks and bonds. Early farmers didn't just kill cattle for meat, they traded them as living currency. Herd size determined wealth and social status, much like bank accounts today. Rifkin calls this the catalyzing of economies, a slow monetary revolution that made cattle both money and power. Fast forward to Roman times, where beef-fed legions marched across continents. Rifkin argues that the Western Empire's expansion rides on the back of cattle culture. Beef wasn't just nutrition, it was a catalyst, sparking military might, social hierarchy, and the birth of capitalist economies. Civilizations chased cattle, and cattle, in turn, chased power. Skip ahead centuries, where cowboys tame lands and railroads weaponize beef. The book cranks up the tension between tradition and industry, revealing a brutal revolution. In the late 1800s, Chicago stockyards exploded into the world's largest cattle market thanks to railroads. Rifkin details how trains transformed slow, regional herding into rapid slaughter lines feeding growing cities. Towns like Abilene, Kansas became violent hubs where cattle drove westward, stamping out native lands. This wasn't just economics, it was a war on nature and culture. Then came Gustavus Swift's disassembly line, modern meatpacking's brutal machine. Instead of butchering cattle piecemeal, his assembly line processed thousands daily, turning flesh into standardized products. Rifkin likens this to an automated jungle, where animals lost identity and workers became cogs. This innovation fed millions but embedded cruelty and alienation deep into meat culture. Behind the scenes, the beef trust ruled. Big meat corporations colluded to fix prices and crush competition. Rifkin exposes this cartel as a textbook monopoly, controlling supply, manipulating markets, and shaping consumer habits. The result? Cheap meat for some, environmental havoc, and social inequality for many, a ruthless industrial empire built on beef. Now the stakes skyrocket, our planet groans under cattle's weight. Rifkin shifts to ecological wreckage and cultural reflexes. Can we digest the truth? Rifkin throws cold water on the idea that cattle farms just feed us simply. One cow eats as much grain as 10 people consume directly. This vast inefficiency means forests get cleared and water supplies drained to raise cattle, starving ecosystems and many humans alike. It's a paradox, cattle everywhere, yet hunger persists. Remember Malthus, the guy who warned overpopulation would cause starvation? Rifkin revisits his grim prophecy, showing how industrial meat production worsens, not solves, food scarcity. Feeding grain to cattle instead of people is like funneling calories into a black hole. The system's solution actually deepens global inequality and famine. Perhaps the biggest jolt, cattle farming emits massive methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Add deforestation for pastures and you've got a major climate player. Rifkin calls cattle hoofed locusts because they devour landscapes with devastating speed. Our beef obsession heats the planet, linking your burger straight to the climate crisis. We began amidst medieval markets where cattle were sacred engines of power. Now we see the full arc: sacrifice turned slaughter, symbol turned industrial beast, prosperity turned planet buster. Jeremy Rifkin challenges us to rethink beef not as just food but a culture with deep costs. Next time you face a burger, ask, what story does this meat tell? Try swapping a meal this week for a plant-based alternative. Small step, big impact. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.